Hi, everyone. Dan Eisner here from ZLC Employee Benefit Solutions. My passion as an employee benefits advisor is to find better ways for employee benefits, different from those used for the past 20 or 30 years. And it's this passion that drove me to develop the Better Benefits podcast series. In these podcasts, I leverage my relatively unique profile, having almost 25 years experience as an employee benefits advisor and being the only chartered professional accountant working in this industry in the local market. In this episode, I want to talk about pet insurance, how it has come up in the world of employee benefits, and why it really isn't a great fit in today's market. Okay, so let's get started. There has been consistent industry coverage over the last number of years around pet insurance. Some employers are promoting the fact that they provide pet insurance to employees, and some employees are lamenting if it is not available to them. As a seasoned employee benefits advisor, I'm struggling to understand the logic behind the appropriateness of such a benefit and how to find balance. Don't get me wrong. On a personal level, I'm a huge pet lover and have had dogs almost my entire life. I currently have two schnauzers named Bow and Arrow. And yes, that's correct, like a bow and arrow. However, I also know that my clients are struggling to just maintain the status quo for their employee benefits programs. Amid continued inflationary pressures on employee benefits programs, which have averaged 6% annually over the last 25 years and is forecasted to be about 7% in 2026, there's a lot of pressure to support both employees with their benefits programs and to balance corporate budget objectives. How can you do both? Now, this may surprise some, but pet insurance has been around for actually a long time, even longer when you look south of the border to the US market. So if we go back nearly 20 years ago to the exceptionally tight labor market of 2007, back when unemployment fell below 5, 6%, that's when employers were seeking ways to really differentiate themselves in order to attract top talent. A few companies in Canada looked south of the border and saw US companies adding pet insurance to their group benefits offering and thought they might try it in our local market. Then in 2008 came the Great Recession, where companies reverted to cutting their pay packages, and that was pretty much the end of pet insurance at that time. We've been recently hearing the topic of pet insurance coming up again, more broadly in the employee benefits industry, and there's a lot of information in the cyber universe. However, the labor market is nowhere near as tight as it was in 2007. So should we really be talking about it again? Some might argue that organizations are simply responding to different demographics and different needs in their workforce. For example, those employees that may choose to get a puppy instead of perhaps having children. And most pet owners would agree that the cost of veterinary care is increasing, and pet insurance might well be a way to diffuse the financial adversity when your puppy gets sick. If an employer offers pet insurance, might a potential employee be swayed to come and take a job over a competitor? It's a possibility. I mean, with many younger demographics in the workforce, it's already hard enough to convince those employees of the value of certain benefits that are already provided that they would hope to never need. Things like life, disability insurance, catastrophic drug insurance. But in my opinion, for the same reason that we should all carry catastrophic insurance on our homes, in case of fire or earthquake, and on our cars, in third-party liability issues, there's substantial value in these types of benefit offerings already. Distracting employees with another perquisite like pet insurance could potentially detract from the value of the existing traditional benefits that they may ultimately need one day. Arguably, we could be looking at some of a slippery slope as well around these new benefits. Could the introduction of pet insurance start to set expectations around perhaps time off for leaves for pets, pet sickness, pet bereavement, or paternity leaves around the arrival of a new puppy? Let's be clear. For convenience, I've only been referring to dogs and puppies, but let's not forget that there's also cats, hamsters, fish, and all other kinds of pets. It's really a matter of preference. As well, let's not forget that company-paid extended health benefits are one of the last true tax shelters in Canada. When an employer pays for the cost of these benefits, there's no taxable benefit to employees outside of Quebec. On the other hand, if you provide, direct financial support for pet insurance, or indirect financial support where they could expense it through, for example, a wellness spending account, that's going to drive a taxable benefit to employees. So as I mentioned, I'm a big pet person myself, but when my wife and I added bow and arrow to our family, We did so knowingly, accepting the potential costs and the love and affection that come with pets. I don't think it's reasonable for me or any other employee to expect an employer to be responsible for those costs. Conversely, I greatly appreciate the efforts my employer makes to maintain my current benefits plan coverage for things like drugs, life insurance, disability insurance, paramedicals, and vision care, in spite of the inflationary pressures that are impacting these programs. There's no question that pets play a significant role in many of our lives, but decisions around employee benefits programs have to be practical to ensure they are sustainable. By focusing on programs that safeguard employee health and well-being in the most impactful ways, employers can ensure they're investing where it truly counts. Okay, you've heard my thoughts and opinions, so please let me know what you think. How does this compare to what you've heard in the market from your current advisor or other advisors? And as always, I'm always interested to know if there are any other topics that you'd like to see me cover in future podcasts. Let me know what's bothering you or keeping you awake at night with respect to your employee benefits plans. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to follow me on my LinkedIn business page, and that's Dan Eisner, Employee Benefits Advisor, for a notification on the next Better Benefits podcast. And all that information will come up on the screen in a second. Thanks so much.